Okay, today we're starting lesson 10, day 1. So we are almost out of unit 2. This is our last lesson in unit 2. So let's get started. Make sure you have your book. We're going to be on page 86 and 87. You're also going to need your notebook and something to write with. Today we are going to know how to interpret slope and y-intercept of graphs of linear functions. Not all graphs are quantitative, which has numbers. Some graphs are actually qualitative. So we're not actually going to use exact numbers, but we're interpreting kind of what these graphs mean. So if we look at the graph on the left, if we look at this one right here, where are my numbers? Right? I'm not used to seeing a graph without numbers, because how can I graph without numbers? But what does my x-axis tell me? What does it have on it? So we have time in hours. Look at my y-axis. Yeah, so miles. Okay. So we're going to talk about how different graphs can look. And we're going to talk about these qualitative type graphs. And let's look at this one right here on the right. Time. So we have time, but look, it's from 11 to 1. Okay, so if I want to interpret this graph and I'm looking at 12 might be here, and then this would be like 12:30. But if I look at the bell of the bell curve right here, this bell, and being able to interpret, well, what does that actually mean? Do we start with 0 people? And then what happens from the number of students in a cafeteria between 11 and 1? What happens? Yeah, lunchtime, right? So I wonder why it gets higher up here, because it's lunchtime. So this is what we're doing today. So today, we're looking at graphs that maybe we're not familiar with seeing, okay? So let's read this problem. I'm going to read it first. I'm going to read it twice, actually. But the first time, I want you to listen. Second time, I want you to pull out any information that is going to be necessary, okay? So first time. Students in Ms. Blanca's class have 3 weeks to complete their science projects. These graphs show how much of the project 2 students have completed each day during this 3-week period. Describe what each graph shows. Okay, I'm going to read it one more time. Notice my y-axis. What's my y-axis tell me? The amount of science project that is completed. And my x-axis is the amount of weeks. Okay, I'm going to read it a second time, okay? Students in Mr. Blanco's class have 3 weeks to complete their science projects. These graphs show how much of the project 2 students have completed each day during this 3-week period. Describe what each graph shows. Pause my video to write anything important, what it's asking, what I'm trying to find out. Go. Okay, so have you figured out what's underneath my big boxes? Hopefully you said graphs, because it does say these graphs. And what do these graphs show? How much of the project they have completed each day during how many weeks? Yes, 3 weeks. So describe what each graph shows. So we know it's 3 weeks. We know we're talking about how much they have completed. Are you ready to see my graphs? Okay, they're going to be different. I'm just warning you. Okay. Describe. So describe your thoughts. Pause my video, look at Lynn, and look at Amy, and describe what each graph says how they completed their 3-week project. Pause. 3, 2, 1. Okay. What did you say about Lynn versus Amy? I bet you went to Amy first and you knew exactly what to say for Amy, huh? Did you say she procrastinated and she waited to the last minute and then finally she worked all night? Well, maybe the last week, right? Okay, so this is what I want to give you in the habit of doing. Because a lot of my students in the past have said, oh, she pulled an all-nighter. Okay, we've got 3 weeks. I want us to get in the habit of starting to section our graphs off because it's going to make this a lot easier as you go, trust me. So evenly, that's close enough, right? It's almost. So this section right here tells me about 1 week. So you've got 7 days in a week. So this gives me about 7 days. So she didn't do much in the first week. She did a little bit in the second week, but she really worked hard. So she did procrastinate, but, you know, and we could tell by how fast that slope goes up, can't we? Okay, let's look at Lynn. So same thing for Lynn. If I section it off in 3 sections, wow, that's totally different, huh? So she almost finished her project in that first week, didn't she? So this is week 1. Her second week, she finished about midway, and then she was done. She was like, I get to relax the rest of the time because I'm done. Peace, right? Amy, she had to work really hard on her last week. She probably lost a lot of sleep. And her project might not have been as good as Lynn, who took a lot of, you know, started early and took time. But, so I'm going to erase all my work, and I want to look at it again, okay? I want you to think about the slopes. I want you to think about how steep this is. Okay, just like we had the 3 slopes, the A, the B, the C, and our 1/2 was a little lower than our 2, okay? We're going to use that in this. So we're going to look at it and go, wow, this is pretty steep, and this one isn't as steep. Okay, so we're going to look at that, you know, during our graphs, our picture graphs, as I like to call them, but our qualitative graphs. And so your book, it kind of breaks it down as well. You know, the first step of Lynn's graph was steep. The second shows a gradual increase and begins to straighten out. Her third is almost a straight horizontal line. And we interpreted that as she finished. She was done. Whereas Amy's graph, the first and second sections, shows a line that was almost straight, which means she wasn't really working on it. And then that third line, whoa, did it go steep, right? So she was really working on that third line. So this is us describing with what we see, okay? So if we would give our analysis, our book says that each of the thirds represents 1 week, which is why we broke it down. Lynn's graph is steep in the first third, and then it flattened out the rest, which means she almost did all the work on the first project, first week. And Amy's graph was the complete opposite. Her work was really the third week. So just what we said, that's us following in our book, okay? Now we're going to connect it, okay? And we're going to do something similar. I'm going to ask, how many sections of this graph do you notice? There's only 4 sections, 4 letters, right? But watch, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's really 5 sections to this graph. So we're going to break it down 1 section at a time. Let's read the scenario. The graph shows daily sales of a frozen yogurt at a new store during a 6-month period, starting on an opening day in April. Describe what is happening in terms of this situation for each section of the graph. So I'm going to break it down. We're going to do 1 section at a time. So frozen yogurts, here's my time. Okay, 6 months, opening in April. So we're opening in April. Okay. So describe section A. Think about it. If there's anyone around you that you can talk to, talk about what you think A would be. Pause my video if you need time. Okay. What did you come up with section A? I'm going to ask this question. Look at the slope between A and B. So is my slope on A, is it really steep, like going up really fast, or is it just a little? It's kind of in the middle, right? Okay, so what can we say about section A? So it's April. Here's April. Could we say that it's new and exciting and people are going? Yeah, so it's going up. It's positive. We're getting money, sales, because it just opened. Good. All right. Guess where I'm going to next? B. Pause my video and think what B would mean. Okay, did you say, look at this slope. That's steep, right? So sales went up super fast. Well, what happened then? Okay, so think about you're in school, right? April. What's our next month? May and June, right? Okay, so now we're dealing with May and June. What's happening in May and June? So several things we could say. Well, we could say it's really good. Word's getting out. Maybe they're advertising. Steep. What happens in May? Hello, the beginning of summer, right? We're getting excited, trying to get rid of school. It's getting hotter. Yes, all these things. Hot, getting to summer, new store. It's really good ice cream, really good frozen yogurt. Sales shot up. Okay, look at C. Did you say C flatlined because I wasn't making any money? Ah, good, I hope not, because that's not what that means. Because it's up high and I'm flat, that doesn't mean a bad thing. That just means it's constant. This is constant going up. This is constant going up. This, I'm steady. So I'm making the same amount of money every day. Steady money, steady money, steady money. Why? What months are we in? We're in our summer months, right? So that's us interpreting our summer months. Okay, so think about what's happening for D. What happened? Are we declining? Are we decreasing? We are decreasing. What does that mean? Our money is decreasing. So what would make our money decrease? April, May, June, July, August, September. So we know that the end of this is September. What happens in terms of August? We go back to school. That's right. So not that it's getting colder, because some of you might think, oh, it's getting colder, so I got to go down. No, it's not necessarily getting colder, but it is getting towards school. It's not as exciting anymore because it's not as new. We've been open for, 4 months now. So, but it is, and then finally so that was us summarizing how we did our graph. So good job. Okay. Now, and that was our big graph. So let's try one more. So use what you've just learned about your qualitative graphs to solve this problem. And show your work in your notebook. So this is a summary of gas prices over time. Now, we don't have a date. We don't have a week, a day, a month. But I want you to give me a story. You can maybe even create your story. So summarize these gas prices over time. Pause my video. Go. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Let's see how you did. So obviously we're starting at a price. We don't need to know what. This is just understanding what's happening. So for example, when it's straight, am I losing money, gaining money, or is it constant money? See, so right now, this is okay. It's a constant money. All of a sudden, what happens? Gas prices drop, okay? And then gas prices stay the same for a little while. Then what happens? Gas prices go up. Oh, and look, we can even say they go up greater than we started. And they went up pretty fast. And then we have a constant, steady, okay, a steady price. It slowly drops, and then we have a steady price again, okay? This is us understanding slope. Rises fast, drops fast, steady, okay? Good job trying to do a graph without numbers. It's different, isn't it? Yeah, well, you did a great job. Okay. Well, I will see you next time when we do day 2 of lesson 10. Bye, guys.